We all know how important reputation is in this industry, so it's easy to see why more and more pros are turning to Andersen to build their projects and craft their legacies. Andersen has earned the trust of pros time and time again for over 120 years. They will work with you to build more efficiently, stay on budget, and earn more referrals by providing high-quality products and support, making your installs easier and confidence stronger. See how Andersen can help you craft your legacy at trustandersen.com. Shirley has what I would describe as a simpler question, which thanks, Shirley. We appreciate it. She writes, hey, podcast crew, I live in an old two-story farmhouse. They put the type of passive vent as shown in the pictures on the house. So she sent us photos of her Gable end vents that look like they're original of the house. Wind-blown rain and snow get through them and stain the upstairs ceiling. Part of the attic is accessible, but the other part has no way to enter the attic area. Would you please offer advice as to how to prevent snow and rain from getting in these vents? Thank you. Mike, Grant, who wants to go first?
I'll go first. One way to do it is to remove those vents or cover them up and then put on ridge vent in their place. I can't tell from the photo, but it doesn't look like there's ridge vent, and that would solve the problem. And another way to solve it would be to make some sort of a wind and snow, rain shield over the face of the box of the vent. So kind of creating a box out of some metal or some wood that would shield the wind-driven snow and rain from getting in, but still allow the air to flow from the bottom of that box.
So you're suggesting a hood on the outside or on the inside, Mike, that
on
would
the
shield?
outside. Yeah,
on the outside.
A hood
Okay.
on the outside. Yep, that's a good way to put it.
What do you think about this plan, Grant?
I agree with Mike. If it's there to vent and your soffits are vented, the gable end vents aren't particularly effective at promoting the flow we want in roof ventilation anyway. So ridge vent is a better option in terms of actually creating a convective flow or a flow in the attic space. The other thing is I know there's also different types of louvers. You could possibly replace what she has, and I guess Patrick will probably link the picture. They look very open. It's almost just like a slatted louver. There are different designs of louvers that potentially are more weather resistant. But I'd probably consider, do I need them? Or is there a better way to do it, like through a ridge vent?
Yeah, so the problem with gable end vents and soffit vents, and we're assuming to a degree that there are soffit vents on this house, is that they don't work as well, right? It's like it's not at the highest point of the roof, so they rely somewhat on wind or a pressure difference to make them work. Largely been replaced by ridge vent. I think that's a great solution. I was just going to cover them up because ridge venting and roof venting often don't work anyway. I was thinking of plywood on the inside and getting on with one's life. But do you guys think that's foolish to not have any ventilation in this roof assembly?
It's one of those things. It could be a good idea and not have any ventilation, provided there's no indoor moisture sources that can migrate moisture in the wintertime up into the attic that would ordinarily be vented by a roof ventilation system. So it depends, and the only way to know that is to have somebody do some testing, which could take many months going through a whole heating season to know what the moisture levels get to up in the attic if you did close them off. You just don't. What it sounds like is there probably hasn't been a problem with condensation in the roof, even though the gable vents may not be as effective as a ridge vent, but we don't know that. And if you close them up without making some other exhaust manner for exhausting the air higher in the attic, then you might create a problem. So I would caution people, don't just close them. Have somebody who knows about roof ventilation evaluate whether it would be suitable to reduce or completely eliminate the ventilation exhausts in the roof or put on ridge vent. That would be a simple and almost always effective solution there.
I would think too, and here's something you're going to need to check out, Shirley, is if you do have leaks through the ceiling air barrier into the attic space, um, there's a good chance that interior air is going to have water in it that condenses out, and it's going to happen nearest this, gable vent, which is going to be colder than the rest of the attic, most likely. And it might actually be condensation and not wind-driven rain or snow that's getting in this gable end vent. So I would want to make sure that there were no big air leaks, what building scientists describe as thermal bypasses, near that vent, because I think it could be condensing and leading to the spots on the ceiling that you're describing below. You guys think that's a possible scenario?
It's a good point. I hadn't even thought of it. Just goes to my point that there's so many different things that can be going on up in an attic that you don't realize. You think it's a simple thing because you see those gable vents and you think, oh, that's where it's coming from, but maybe not.
A
Yeah,
blower door
I think,
test is the way to know for sure. Am I right, Grant?
yeah, I mean, a blower door test is always a teller of a lot of building issues that are on scene. Um, I definitely could see the condensation uh, portion of this having more of a play than I think she might realize. Because that gable vent, while it's a large vent, it's tucked up under an eave a little bit there. Or I should say a rake. So, yeah, it's we always say there's simple answers, but they're not, because it's always but or there's more to know. So yeah,
Shirley, I think you
more
can.
information needed probably to really answer this
Oh, I love when we have to
definitively.
go back to that. That's fantastic. I was going to suggest to Shirley you can more conclusively identify the source of this moisture. I mean, if this gable end vent is in the direction of prevailing winds, I think, yeah, it's safer to assume it's coming from wind-driven rain or snow. But if you're getting, you know, if it's not and you're still getting this moisture, I would want to look for big holes in the basement floor / ceiling of the second or top floor of your house. Join us this September 18th and 19th at the beautiful Endicott College campus in Beverly, Massachusetts for the Fine Homebuilding Summit, where the best minds in residential design and construction come together. This premier 2-day event is all about elevating the way we design, build, and run successful, inspiring construction businesses. You'll hear from some of the most respected leaders in the industry as they share insights on the future of home building. You'll experience engaging sessions, interactive roundtable discussions, supplier exhibits, and hands-on networking. We'll also be recording a Fine Homebuilding Podcast live from the summit floor. Head over to summit.finehomebuilding.com to register today. Use the promo code FHB Podcast for $50 off the 2-day all-access ticket. Can't wait to see you there. Do you guys think it's worth, putting a ridge vent on a, functioning roof? I mean, like, would you cut the top of the roof open, Mike, to put this on to close off these gable vents?
I have. I've done
Yeah.
just that, and to remedy this same problem, specifically closing off the gable vents because of wind-driven rain from the prevailing wind direction, and also from storm directions. The nor'easters that we get will throw wind in a circular pattern around a house over the period of as a storm passes. So you don't necessarily get it all the time. It might happen once every couple of years, but when it does come in, it can be, make a
lot.
big stain and damage a lot up in the second floor, upper floor. So yeah, we've blocked them off from the outside, blocked them off from the inside, and we've it's not a big deal to put on a ridge vent. It's just pull the cap shingles off, run saws down the side of the ridge on left and right, cut a slot through the roof sheathing, and then put the ridge vent on.
I was going to make the point too that sometimes high winds can actually create negative pressures, on vents, and what ordinarily wouldn't be a lot of rain blowing into this vent can actually be sucked in under certain conditions if it's on the negative air pressure side of the building during high winds. Pretty interesting phenomena.
Boy, I thought when you introduced the question, you mentioned, oh, it's a pretty basic kind of a problem, right? And here we've gone through a multitude of different issues that could be going on, as well as a couple of different solutions. So,
Yeah. I kind of, to wrap that up to Mike's point, I agree. I typically don't like gable end vents. I don't see a lot of utility in them. We know how to vent a roof better than that. So, I would be leaning towards just get rid of them and put a ridge vent on. But understand what's going on first specifically with the roof construction before you do that. But if it's a traditional attic with insulation at the floor line, if you have soffit vents, you should have no problem putting a ridge vent in.
And look for thermal bypasses into the attic, because
like if there's a big can light or something right underneath this, let us know.
So ridge vents, and I'm guessing to a lesser degree gable end vents, can really exaggerate air leakage through the ceiling air barrier. So you want to make sure that is dealt with before you go cutting big holes in the ridge where the stack effect is gonna pull in air from the lower in the building. Lots to think about, right? We used to think stuff is simple.
Yeah, we could tangent onto all kinds of things. Think about all the old houses that had attics but no ventilation at all, and then some roofer comes along and puts ridge vent on, and all of a sudden the heating bill goes up by 20 or 30% the next heating season because of what the point you just made, Patrick, that you're now drawing all the air out or letting it escape.
Well, Shirley, I'm sure that was sufficiently confusing to have you listening to this a few times. So when you have your list of questions for follow-up, please write back and we'll do our best. And let us know what you do, because this is a common problem, as Mike pointed out. And you ask a dozen roofers, my guess is 11 out of 12 will say, yeah, close up the gable end vent, put a ridge vent on, because that's what they do. And it's not necessarily the best course of action.
And what would a building scientist say to do?
Get a blower door test, right?
A building scientist would say to rip everything off the outside of the house, put continuous insulation around the entire house, and then not vent the roof.
Add 4 inches of insulation, right?
Yep.
Well, I hope you all will let us know what you would do with Shirley's gable end vents, because there's a lot of answers that could be correct, and most are wrong.